Hey guys, it's Toniko Pantoja, and today I want to talk about how I'm able to work on multiple creative projects. Now, in my channel and in my work, I mostly do animation related stuff, but I also do things like comics, drawings, little sketches and illustrations, storyboards, some writing here and there. And sometimes I'll be juggling multiple projects within the same time span. However, if I were to give advice, I would say it's a good idea to just focus on one project at a time, finish that and move on to the next creative project, whether it's animation related, drawing related. I still think it's good to just focus on one project at a time. And I would actually heavily advise this over taking on a ton of different projects all at the same time, because there's more of a chance that you might not finish most of these projects, or it'll take you much longer to finish even one of these projects, just because you're spreading yourself thin. However, I'm ADHD as fuck, so I need to constantly stimulate that chaos in my impulses of taking on different projects. And I'm pretty sure that there's many of you guys that prefer the variety of different projects all at the same time. First of all, I want to show you guys a system that I've been utilizing for my work. It's something that I've done instinctively, but only recently I'm kind of trying to break it down visually so everyone can kind of see how I think about projects. Now, as you can see, I'm using the app Notion. There's a browser version of it, there's the phone version of it, and it's free. It's a heavily customizable app that allows for productivity, strategies, logging, organization, bookkeeping, and I'm trying to utilize it for my productivity. Now, this video isn't sponsored by Notion, and the stuff that I'm going to talk about can be applied to other apps or not even an app. It could just be applied to yellow sticky notes on paper if you decide to go that route. Because the system that I'm kind of using is relatively simple. So what I have are three different columns. On the left, I have projects I have an idea of or things that I want to tackle. This could be animation, this could be writing, storyboarding, anything that I see myself doing. In the middle column are projects I'm currently working on, and in the far right are projects that I've finished, projects that are done. So you can use any app or any methodology to recreate this. But Notion also has a template for this that you can immediately use if you guys decide to use Notion. So I'm going to show you guys how I set it up in Notion, but if you just want to skip that and just hear my thoughts on how I organize these projects or how I think about it, what my strategies are when it comes to juggling multiple projects, you can skip to the time code stated in the video. So if you're going to use Notion like I did, let me show you guys how to make that within Notion, because there's a template that already exists. Now, when you have Notion, on the private tab, you're going to hit this plus sign. This creates add a new page. And when you hit a new page, you're going to hit database. And from here, you already have a bunch of templates from here. Now, the template I'm using is actually just projects. And again, you can customize it. I don't think I need a lot of these things, but let's just hit continue and just go done. So now it's already created me the template that I use. Now, I don't think I'm going to use these ones, so let me just quickly delete these ones because I don't think I'm gonna utilize any of this. So now we have completely empty stuff, but now we can add our own projects. So to not started, let's say I hit project 1, and then the next project 2, right? So when I want to start working on one of these projects, I just put one of these here. And again, you can, when you're done with that, you can move it here, but in total, this is the setup for it. Now, the thing about Notion is that you can customize how you can see all of these things too. You can see it by a list, by a chart if you have like a deadline. So I don't really utilize this much, since with personal projects of mine, I just do it by moving forward, but I think it would help to think about deadlines. So another thing that's cool about Notion is, let's say your project, you can kind of see that this project has multiple steps. So I can actually click on this and it's going to open a new sidebar where I can actually type stuff. So let's say project 2, animated thing, right? And sometimes it'll create a template where it already makes a to-do list. So you know what? I'm going to delete that and delete this because I'm going to make my own to-do list. So when I hit the slash, now it allows me to put headers. So to do, and then I'm going to hit that again, and I'm going to do a to-do list. So let's say like planning and thumbnails, rough animation, tie down, clean up, and color. So those are all the steps for this project. And then when I'm working on it, sometimes I'll track it where I'm checking things down as I work on it. So you can go down that extra mile if you want to do that. And then, once it's all done, you can actually just move that to the done. I actually accidentally moved it to the done. It was supposed to be here, but you can move it anywhere else. So yeah. Another cool thing about Notion is that you can customize how you want to view this template. So you can actually go the extra mile of customizing it. So an example is that if I don't just want to see a header or title of these projects, I could actually customize it where I can see or change the card preview. So it'll show me a bit of the content of what's inside it, like a preview of it. Again, it all depends up to you. So on the very left, I write projects that I want to do. Like I said, this could be an intangible idea, things that aren't physical or don't exist yet, but projects that I currently want to do. Like I said, this could be storyboards, this could be writing, animation, whatever I see myself doing as a creative project. I just write them down, whatever it is. You can write as many as you want at the top of your head. These aren't all the ideas I want to do. These are the things I can quickly think of that I feel like doing. In Notion, you can always add new tasks in this. And what I usually do is when I'm ready to start one of these projects, I just click one of these things and drag it to projects that I'm currently working on. So I know that these projects are a priority. Again, you can try this on any app or you can do this physically without digital methods. I've learned about myself on how I deal with creativity or how I work, so I kind of had to make a rule for myself. Knowing how I work, I only put 2 to 3 projects here, so I know that these projects are my top priority. This just reminds me that these are the ones that I need to focus on and try my best to not let my impulses get the better of me to start a completely different project outside of these. Once I finish a project, I finish one of these and drag them to the finished projects, knowing that this project is now done. And this allows me to add a new project to replace the thing that was recently done, or just leave it alone and focus on the remainder work in progress. I've learned over time that I don't realize how I'm thinking about strategizing my work unless I actually see it written down on paper or visually, like how I think about projects and organization and all that crap. But look, what if the project is so ambitious, it's too big, so it'll take forever just to finish one of these tasks in the in progress window? One of my friends, Denver Jackson, who makes little feature films by himself, who makes a lot of things by himself, the rule that he follows is that he treats each step of a project as its own personal project. So let's talk about animation, for example. Lots of steps to get a finished looking piece of short film or whatever. What if my project was just focusing on the rough animation? That would just be the project that I would be focusing on for that task within that quadrant. So once I finish, let's say, the rough animation of this project, then I'll start a new project that's just focusing on the cleanup, just the cleanup in the in-betweens, no colors, just that. So it helps me keep track of just focusing on the task at hand, and that I don't get overwhelmed by how big one single project is. And now this is cool because what if I feel like I just want to write and not draw? Then I have a project where I can focus on my writing. What if I just want to paint backgrounds? Well, there's a project that's in progress where I can work on that. Or if I just want to storyboard, it's there. It's all there. So at least when I have the urge to do a completely different discipline, I can jump onto the project that requires that discipline. So depending on how you tend to work, you kind of have to find strategies that best fit your liking. So one way is that if you want to not get bored and burned out from doing just one discipline or task, vary the projects up. Not all of my projects are animation related. Some are just drawing, some are illustration, some are storyboards. So at least there's variety. And again, I try to keep the rule of having just 2 to 3 current projects only. You can work with more, you can work with less, but I prefer just trying to stick it to 2 to 3. Some of the projects are actually non-creative, so something that's very laborious in bookkeeping. So here's an example. So one of my current projects is actually for a bigger animated project where I'm prepping files for layout. So when I start layout and animation, the files are ready for me to start with. So it's very non-creative, laborious, and time-consuming. And sometimes you just need that because for a creative project to thrive, you need to figure out a system for it, whether it's organization, whether it's prepping files. These are non-creative, but it's important to a creative project. And that's another thing that you might want to think about. Days where you feel very creative and days where you just want to keep going forward, be laborious and do the work. So being creative is like trying to come up with ideas, writing, trying to put whatever is in your head into something tangible or something onto paper, something that you can see. In drawing and in animation, the thumbnailing and the rough sketches. And then for stages that are laborious, part of it is like cleaning up the drawing, coloring the drawing. The decision making has already been made, the foundation is already there, it's really just polishing the piece. So if I don't feel like being creative for a certain day, at least I have a project where I'm just moving forward and being laborious. If I just want to have a day where I just brainstorm and be in blue sky, then I have space for that. I have a project where it allows me to brainstorm that. And what if you don't actually have a project, but you just want to have a space where you can play around? You can even make projects out of those. So here's some examples that you can work off of. So I just wrote a few quickly, just like little challenges for myself. So what if I just want to write 50 log lines of story ideas as one project, and another project is just like a page of random sketches. There's nothing like super planned, but at least I know the criteria is getting a page full of sketches. Maybe I just want to do an animation test where it's just a walk cycle. You can make these really small tasks that aren't necessarily big projects or planned out projects, but you can also treat projects as little challenges just to, have something to do. So that's how I work on multiple projects at the same time. I keep my projects relatively different from each other so I don't get bored or easily burned out. Some projects are ahead of other projects, so I can treat each stage as a project of its own. So there's a lot of ways you can go about it, and this is how I kind of do it. I did all this mentally, but now that I put it in a visual planner like this Notion or like a little visual graph where I actually show you how I think about my projects, it's actually making me more conscious about how I treat productivity, especially when I'm trying to handle different things all at once. And if you're someone that also acts on impulse or ADHD, then maybe this might be something that you can utilize. Anyways, I hope this helps you guys out. Okay, bye. Interested in learning hand-drawn animation or learning how to finish an animated shot from beginning to end? Have a look at the store where you'll find the complete Introduction to 2D Animation video course, tutorials, and other resources. Learn classical animation approaches, drawing, lectures, techniques, and other process videos. Visit the store through the link in the description below.